It is Seahawks Today, and it is powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we have the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors as we're going to be talking about Pro Football Focus, their latest mock draft, who they have the Seahawks taking at the 20th spot. We'll tell you who that is and dive into all of that and more. Also, an update on Geno Smith and his contract situation. Where does that all unfold as far as Geno Smith stacking up among some of the other free agents across the National Football League? We'll tell you about all of that and more coming up in just a few moments. Folks, thank you for helping us reach 34.5 thousand subscribers on the channel. We are growing rapidly, and it is my honor to do this show each and every day, to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks. But I want more of the 12s here. I want us to be representing even louder than we typically are. Let's get on up to 35K. What's holding us back from getting there? Let's do our part, get to 35,000 subscribers here on the channel. Subscribe now. Make sure all your fellow Seahawk fans are also subscribed as well. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe for free today. Joey Porter Jr. of Penn State, the defensive back, is who Pro Football Focus is projecting the Seahawks pick at the 20th selection. Now, the 5th selection, Pro Football Focus has the Seahawks going with Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech. We've talked about him on this show, but today we want to focus specifically on Joey Porter Jr. and what he could potentially bring to Seattle with that 20th pick. Here's what PFF said. Defensive line and cornerback feel like the two areas the Seahawks are going to want to hit early in the 2023 NFL Draft. With them selecting Wilson at number 5 earlier in the mock, I have them looking at cornerback here. Tariq Woolen was a steal of a pick last year, earning an 81.4 coverage grade and tying the league high in interceptions, 6 in 2022. Woolen measures in at 6'4", 205 pounds, and putting the 6'2", 205-pound Porter on the other side would create quite the nightmare matchup for opposing defenses. And I got to tell you, folks, when you look at that, this secondary would just be absolutely insane if you added Joey Porter Jr. to the fold compared to what you already have. You heard him mention Tariq Woolen there. But think about this. Kobe Bryant, as much as was made about Tariq Woolen's outstanding rookie year where he was a Pro Bowler, Kobe Bryant still had a really good rookie year. It was just kind of overshadowed by Tariq Woolen. And you bring back Kobe Bryant. Mike Jackson, he'll be a free agent. You got some other guys that are free agents. And not to mention your situation with the safety spots with the guys like Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams and company there. I got to tell you, to me, this would be lethal if you already have a secondary room that's promising, that has a lot of potential as is. And then you potentially add a guy like Joey Porter Jr., who I might add has some pretty good pedigree as well. This would be quite the secondary the Seahawks could potentially have here if they go with Joey Porter Jr. with this selection at number 20. I'll tell you more specifically about Joey Porter Jr. here in just a second, but let's have you chime in here in the comments section. Before we dive into the details about JPJ, is that what we're calling him? Let me know in the comments section if you want to see him in Seattle with that 20th pick. We're not talking about at 5, but at 20, what do you think about the idea of bringing in JPJ? Type D for draft, type P for pass, and on the other side, we'll tell you more about Joey Porter Jr. So, Joey Porter Jr., here is the resume for the Penn State cornerback. He was first team All Big Ten in 2022. He is the son of the two-time first-team All-Pro former linebacker Joey Porter, who, of course, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and had an outstanding career and has gone on to coaching. And according to ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., you're looking at Joey Porter Jr. being a guy that is the 14th overall player on Mel's big board, which, I mean, just pure numbers-wise, if you're picking at 20 and get Joey Porter Jr. at 14, that's good math on your end. And the number 2 cornerback overall in this draft. The numbers for Joey Porter Jr. in his career, 34 games played, And for a cornerback, pretty decent number of tackles, 113 to be exact. 2 tackles for loss, 20 pass breakups, and 1 interception for Joey Porter Jr. there. And the nerd numbers from Pro Football Focus, the grades they give out, not bad either. Overall grade at 73.2, coverage grade at 77.4, and a run D grade at 53.2, as well as a tackling grade at 57.7. So you can see these numbers, what we're talking about with Joey Porter Jr. here, pretty solid. And to me, it's the fact that, not only just the good pedigree. You're not just drafting a name here in Joey Porter Jr. potentially, but the value of, hey, this is a guy that's a top, 12, 15 talent according to Mel, and the number 2 corner, and you already have a pretty young, good core in your secondary. Add another piece. To me, this would be very interesting if the Seahawks go this direction, and I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm open to this idea. What say you? Name a player the Seahawks should draft this year, besides just Joey Porter Jr. or somebody out there that comes to mind overall in this draft. Give me one player you think the Seahawks should consider here in the 2023 draft that comes to mind for this Seattle Seahawks team. Today's show is sponsored by Fume. We all have bad habits, and we currently know how hard they can be to kick those habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when I got it, but the minty sensation is really powerful and really hits the back of the throat. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors for you to enjoy: maple pepper, crisp mint, and white cranberry. Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports and use code CHATSPORTS to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com/chatsports. Use code CHATSPORTS to save an additional 10% off your order today. I tried the maple pepper today. I got to tell you, I was a fan. Had some good flavor, some good taste to it as far as that goes with Fume. So you can be like me and try it out for yourself at tryfume.com/chatsports. Use that promo code CHATSPORTS to save an additional 10%. All right, a couple more notes, some housekeeping things before we go. Let's start with Geno Smith. And Geno, I think most people might not realize this, is going to be a highly sought-after free agent beyond just in Seattle, but really with a lot of teams looking for a quarterback. According to ESPN's NFL free agent rankings, Geno Smith is in the top 5, not just for quarterbacks, but among all free agents available here this offseason. Here's what Matt Brown said. Smith led the NFL in completion percentage, a nice number at 69.8 this season, and his QBR, 60.9, ranked 6th among all quarterbacks. It's a big jump from the 58.8% completion rate and 43.6 QBR he posted over 46 games prior to this season. There's no denying that Smith played extremely efficient football this season, seeing it fast from the pocket, and those traits travel well in any passing scheme. Smith finished the season with 4,282 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. If he doesn't return to Seattle, he could be targeted to start elsewhere. So here's a few things that are interesting about Geno Smith and his situation going into this offseason. According to Spotrac and just kind of looking at some of the numbers around, the market value for Geno Smith is around $35 to $40 million. The longer this goes out, if you let him go to free agency unsigned, the more expensive this is going to be. And there's so many teams desperate for quarterbacks that market price, that market value is only going to go up. He is 32 years old. He's had one impressive season to this point. But for some teams, that is going to be enough to be interested in Geno Smith. So the longer you let this thing play out and not have a deal for Geno Smith potentially, there could be more interest from other teams. Remember, the Seahawks haven't ruled out the franchise tag either as far as that goes. So something to think about there. So 32 years old with one impressive season. And then the other factor that is the elephant in the room of some sorts with this Geno Smith situation is you hold the 2 picks at 5 and 20. And until draft night, we are not going to know what direction Seattle's thinking at that quarterback position. Even if you pay Geno Smith, is he your long-term answer where you don't draft at those other 2 positions? Or do you not pay Geno Smith and you go all in with trying to draft at one of those 2 spots? That's a whole other factor in all this too. So a lot to play out, a lot to unfold here as far as Geno Smith's future goes in Seattle. We've heard John Schneider and Pete Carroll say all the right things. They want him back, but let's see what really goes down if they can make it happen and if they're possibly willing to pay up to $40 million. That remains to be seen. What's your confidence level in Geno Smith coming back next year? Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comments section, how confident you are that Geno Smith is going to be back in 2023. Let us know. Scale 1 through 10 in the comments section below. Finally, last note before we wrap up here on today's edition of Seahawks Today. Seahawks quarterback coach Dave Canales, who has been on the Seahawks staff for a very long time in a number of roles. He got a second interview with the Baltimore Ravens with John Harbaugh for their offensive coordinator position. They're replacing Greg Roman in Baltimore, and seems like Dave is one of the favorites to potentially land that job. He is a candidate for that. We've talked about Sean Desai. There's some interest in him on the defensive side with some other teams, so we'll keep tabs on that and see if that leads to potential coaching staff changes for your Seattle Seahawks. Here on the channel, we'll be the first to let you know. As always, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, and would love to hear from you guys there. I'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.